Hello and welcome to Career Talks with Mentoria. My name is Joanna and I'm the content manager at Mentoria, and I'm very delighted to be the host for today's webinar. So our passion is to help you discover yours, and through these webinars and talk shows, we want to give you a very realistic understanding on the careers that you're heading into. So the more you know, the more informed your career and educational decisions will be. So today we are going to have a very incredible conversation in the field of neuroscience, the role of a neuroscientist, and also how you can go about building a career in it. Now we have an eminent personality among us today. So let's please welcome our guest, Dr. Arun Pratap Sikarwar. Dr. Arun is a neuroscientist, educator, and researcher who is trained in biosciences. He is also a TEDx speaker and has featured as an expert panelist on various national TV channels and media platforms. So currently, he is serving as an assistant professor in the University of Dayalbagh Educational Institute in Agra.
Okay, so neuroscience, like the prefix is neuro, and that neuro comes from neuron, or it comes from the nervous system. So imagine a situation like you understand this way, that in a medical college there are 14, 15 primarily departments, like Department of Anatomy, Department of Physiology, Excretory system related, nervous system related, where this neurology or neurobiology, that is the study of brain and spinal cord and associated peripheral nervous system. Now this is the sensory system. This is also coordinated organization in the body, where the brain coordinate the all brain functions. So it is the master organ system in the body. During the course of evolution, previously, like more than thousands of years ago, because heart is more palpable with the hand and with your finger sense, it was presumed that the heart is the seat of the intelligence. And people used to think that it is the heart which is more important. And they thought of that brain is like having some heat radiating system, because it radiates heat because it's having 20% of the blood. But later on, in the time of Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates, and their physician also, they thought that in some subject where the human fight or some war situation happens, that time soldiers used to have mental disorder or comatose situation or coma. So people used to keep observing. It could be that the head or brain which is related to these symptoms or these effects. And then later on, slowly science progressed in the AD or Anno Domini, and then by 16th or 17th century developed and took out the pieces of information, and they regarded this brain is the most important part of the body, that is having brain. Now brain and mind, like brain is the tangible mass. It's like 1.4 kg in human being. It is made up of neurons as a base structural and functional unit. Similarly, non-neuronal cells are the glial cells which make up the brain, and then blood and cerebrospinal fluid and even other things. Now brain is a tangible mass, but mind, many people used to feel that brain and mind are same, but in general brain and mind are not the same. Mind is like a software that works in the healthy brain. So brain is like a physical asset and mind is like abstract. Now it is the mind only which gives our identity, our personality, our behavior, our who we are. Like it is probably because of my mind only that I'm having some knowledge that you needed, and today we are having this webinar. So this way, mind is more important because mind has several faculties, like memory. Human memory is important. Without memory, you cannot make a correlation from past to present. You cannot create new information also. So memory, perception, cognition, it could be love, anger, emotional part. There are several faculties of the mind that are very necessary for our personality, and that makes this science more important. Like it's an umbrella term, neurosciences. It's having neuroanatomy, neurophysiology, neurocognition, in neuropsychology and behavioral science.
So
So
all
that is
of
the
those are
beauty of,
branches under neuroscience.
yeah, so it's a more like a umbrella term. Similarly, there's a three words: neurology, neurosciences, and neurobiology. Now there's slightly difference. Like neurology is more like medical aspect. So in India, it is the MBBS, and then going for MS or then MCH. MCH is superior degree of the surgical part. That's Master of Chirurgy. Similarly, so this is the neurologist job. So neurology and neurosurgeon, they do the operation of the trauma cases of brain. Neuroscientist is like more umbrella term, which is having physics, maths, statistics, chemistry, neural circuitry, robotics, artificial intelligence. This all is comprised of. However, neurobiology is related to the brain, uh, protein, DNA, and RNA work. So neurobiology, neurology, and neurosciences are interdisciplinary sciences that comprise of this cognitive science. See, as I told you, brain is tangible mass of 1.4 kg, which is having like around 90 billion neurons that make up primarily this brain, and then spinal cord, and then associated neurons goes for the peripheral nervous system, which is going everywhere in the body, even our fingertips and everywhere, that to collect information. And then motor nervous system related to the motor function or giving the, the workable power of the body. Now, biology is important because ultimately it is the brain which is most sophisticated organ in the world. It is the brain only which can, contemplate its not only its own meaning but the whole world. So in some analogy, brain and mind is being called as it is deeper than the ocean and bigger than the sky. Means the limits of the brain and mind are extraordinary, and probably science has not yet uncovered even a little part of that, I can say. Like many of the medical sciences are very much saturated. Like in orthology, you can change the whole, bones and everything. But in neurobiology or neurology, you have never come across any brain transplantation, or even head transplantation is not yet possible so far, because it's so complicated science. So biology information is very much important. However, if you want to go for the neurology or neurosurgeon, becoming a medical part or medical exploration, that time you need more biology than other sciences. However, to become a scientist or neuroscientist, I can say you should have physics, mathematics, chemistry, statistics, heuristic, this all subject knowledge. Imagine a situation, it's like a machine. It's like a machine which is having so many neurons, and they are giving a synchrony and to make our mind a functional aspect, and by which our personality derives. So you should have all the information. So by 12th, if you are having majorly biology, it is better. And now in India, undergraduation is there in the neurobiology or neurosciences or cognitive science. Masters is also there nowadays, and then PhD. In abroad, already most of the universities are having cognitive science or behavioral neurosciences department. However, I have my limitation to say that in India, not more than 10% of universities are having neurobiology so far. However, psychology departments are there, and psychology is also one of the faculty of the mind. But now time is coming up, and people are giving more, thought of the neurobiology. Just like space science is now becoming a very hot topic. After this, ISRO has several, milestone in the space science. Like now, Chandrayaan-3 will be going, or even other parts. So it's upcoming, and students are taking interest to go for the brain science. So after the 12th examination, now as per the National Education Policy or NEP 2020, now CUET exam has come up. Okay, so now most of the universities are being prohibited to take their respective competitive exams or entrance exam. Rather, they have to take from CUET. So CUET exam will give the gateway to all the universities throughout the country. Now, like as I told you, many universities are not still having neurosciences and cognitive science so far. But as I can recall, so GNCSR is having neurosciences, ISC Bangalore is having dedicated department of neurosciences, then NCBS, Center for Biological Sciences, Bangalore. One is NBRC, National Brain Research Center. There are also masters and PhD also. Similarly, my own university, Dayalbagh Educational Institute, is having graduation in the cognitive science. Jivaji University, Gwalior, Calcutta University, and lot of IISER, Indian Institute of Science Education Research, IISER Pune, IISER Mohali, they are also having, and IITs. IITs are also having, neurosciences department, and rather they are having like in collaboration with the computer science, even other department, because ultimately scientists want to study this biological entity of the brain to learn and get clues and to incorporate these ideas in computer algorithm, or to make computer very highly efficient, and then going for robotics or automation or computer based other technologies. Okay, so they're a group of people comprising from biological science to physical science to computer science to mathematics. They all come together and they work over research areas, research domains. Other than in India, like in abroad, American universities such as University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, UCSD, Cornell University, where I myself did my postdoc, then Harvard Hughes Medical Institute, MIT. Similarly, in UK, it is University College London, Cambridge, and Melbourne University in Australia, Singapore National University, Singapore, Hong Kong University, HCU. At many other places now, cognitive science, neuropsychology, neurophysiology, neuroanatomy, and cognitive science, these all departments are there. So one can do a study like apart from India like me, and then one can become more specialized, becoming more expertise after getting some knowledge from abroad universities. And this way one can explore. I would say it is not necessary to have a postdoc or something. Like 200-300 years ago, was there any PhD or postdoc? But still scientists were there, right? It is the human curiosity. So there is a need of CQ, that is or PQ, that's passion quotient, right? And curiosity quotient, CQ, that makes a person as a curious to the environment and trying to find out the reason and cause and the result. So scientist is not necessarily a PhD or postdoc, I would say, right? Scientist could be without any formal education if somebody is able to make invention. In today's in our system, like Make in India or making local as global, and several other very charming words are coming up. Now governments want that we should learn from the nature, we should make something worthy to the mankind. So like basic research should not be given that much emphasis, rather translational work, rather it should be result oriented. Okay, rather it should be very much for the societal change. And also in the national education policy right now, the universities and primary and secondary education is going to implement now project-based learning is going to happen. So there will be emphasis not all the time over theoretical knowledge, rather it is practical knowledge. Now practical knowledge, if you do repetition, then the brain becomes conditioned and you keep learning in a better way. Like nowadays there's a fashion of several public schools and primary schools, they talk about neurolinguistics, NLP, or neuro-based learning. I mean, they make catchy word. It means they are emphasizing that how the brain of a child, because it is that window of 4 year to 10 year, very much important, where the brain development happens very rapidly, brain and mind, obviously both. How we can catch that part, and how we can make that child more curious to the environment, and how we can make them memorize better facts, okay? Not just by theory, but by practical. So this education policy is also emphasizing, cognitive science or development of cognitive or development of brain and mind in an efficient way. Although the words are not there, but ultimately it is the brain and mind. Now, education is not only primary education from the school, it is secondary education, or it is informal education that we learn from our parents, that we learn from the environment. These are etiquettes, okay, rather I can say that. So it is not IQ, that is intelligent quotient, that we develop in a formal schooling or under the brick wall school. It is EQ, that is emotional quotient, passion quotient. This all come from both way, from schools, colleges, and with your friendship circle, your peer circle, or your family. So holistically, development is necessary right now. Ultimately, it is the brain and mind that gives your identity the memory system. Well, in India, like not most of the universities have started taking CUET students, but in next year or so, for undergraduate, that is for graduation level of BSc or BA Cognitive Science, and also MSc or MA Cognitive Science or Brain Science, there will be CUET exam. CUET is to make, giving a window for a candidate so that somebody can join anywhere in the country, not by giving application to each and every university, because it takes a lot of time consuming, and students are being accompanied by the parents. It becomes so difficult. So, but now, as I told you, many IITs, ICER, AIMS, most of the AIMS also, they were more like neurology or clinical neurosciences, I can say. And several central universities are having this neurosciences and cognitive science. So the good thing is, by year 2023, even like many universities will be having their own entrance exam for cognitive science this year also. But later on, they have to come to the ambit of CUET, where, and also after taking the admission, now this education policy has given a liberty that a student not necessarily is having all the subject in the cognitive science and neurobiology, but one can have a group or several other subjects. Like you can learn music along with the brain science, or you can have a like physics at the one side and neurosciences and something like engineering. So one can choose from the basket whatsoever is the interest subject lies. So now the boundary of science, commerce, and engineering will intermix between each other. So this way, because ultimately it is just self-interest, right?
True.
You cannot actively force that you are having physics, so you have to take chemistry somehow. It is not necessary, okay? So it is the self-interest, and the candidate should search options for right now, obviously individual universities also, but later on this will be through the CUET. The COVID, when it started in early of 2020, before that there were a lot of MOOCs courses available. MOOCs stands for Massive Open Online Courses. So like from US, it is already in prevalent like last decade or so. So there's a Udemy, there's a edX, there's a Coursera, and India it is a SWAM portal also. SWAM. Similarly, like Stanford online courses and several other. Now these MOOC courses are available. They are millions and millions of short courses, diplomas and degree. If you pay some requisite amount of money, you have to appear the exams, and they provide you the certificate. And then these certificates are acceptable by any university, because it is online courses, but equally good also. Now the question arises, for the theoretical courses and for theoretical output, it is better to have such courses so that you have a self-development, you can have a self-interest in learning new things, and getting to know what are the need of the industry or companies, because these courses are tailored, like what the system need, they develop these courses. So obviously one can do a lot of MOOC courses at their own time, at their own choice of time. You can take classes in the midnight also. You can take class while you are driving, maybe riding, and just have a speaker on and then learning the new things. Okay, so imagine
that is courses. The best part of online teaching.
Yeah. So nowadays there's every student, I motivate my all of students that they should have at least 2 or 3 courses each year from these platforms. If you're not paying the money, then at least they will not be giving the certificate, but knowledge you can achieve, okay, even though. So even in India now after this national education policy is to be implemented, here the lot of online courses will be there. UGC or University Grants Commission has declared one digital university also. So there will be a lot of such MOOC courses available online. And after this geo revolution in last 5 years or so, now internet is everywhere in plenty with everyone, okay? So there's nothing wrong to absorb more and more knowledge and information from all the courses. But remember, in our life, we should not take information from these courses. We should develop this information to knowledge. Knowledge is like a streamlined information, and not only knowledge, but it should convert into the intellectual. So one student should think of information to knowledge and knowledge to intellectual. There you are a successful person. As I told you in my previous statement, that neurology or neurosurgeon or neurophysiology, it's costly affair because it's a medical degree. Medical degrees are quite longer. Like in India, MBBS is like 5+ years. Even in abroad, it is not less than 4 years. So, because in medical biology, you need subject human beings. And wherever there is a need of human being as a subject or to experiment or to tinker with, you need a lot of ethical considerations. So this is possible only in the medical colleges and the hospitals, okay? That's why it is costly affair. And to work with human being is very delicate part, okay? Like the person to whom you are experimenting is the same human being like you, okay? So medical degrees are costly affair, no doubt. It's time consuming. It is very much labor intensive. A lot of hard work is needed. A lot of accuracy is needed. A lot of your cognitive part is necessary to get master. And it's very lengthy procedure, like 5.5 years for masters, then 2 to 3 years for bachelor, and then masters, and then going super specialty MCH in neurosurgeon, I can say. So this way it's long affair. However, in the non-medical background or psychological part, it is UG for like 3 to 4 years right now, then 2-year masters, and then PhD. Okay. But here your subject will be maybe non-human, like it could be your mice, it could be a rat, or it could be some other animals, or indirectly having behavioral aspect through the psychological instrumentation or psychological parameters or related to the questionnaire-based study from the human beings. That is permissible and not a costly affair. So this way, medical biology is costly and time-intensive and hard work. Look, in India, for the students of poor background, there's always scholarships available of some or another kind. And time to time it changes with the names and schemes as per the government. UGC is having ICMR, JRF, Junior Research Fellow, of which I was also the scholar holder. There are several scholars. So you should be, one step ahead than the rest. You should be one of the top 100 or 200 or 500, and you can have a scholarship. When I was in Mumbai, there's a Doravji Tata Trust. I still remember from Tata Trust, there are scholarship, and Lady Tata Memorial Scholarship, and several other NGOs and philanthropy organizations are everywhere in every city. So if somebody is very much intelligent and smart guy, I mean to say, there are a lot of scholarships, no problem. Even though without scholarship, one can learn from YouTube videos. YouTube are free, okay? YouTube videos are free, but you should have a curiosity. Internet is having plenty information. And I have seen several successful stories where UPSC or even IAS is possible just by internet, teaching. I mean, many students who were having no facility of, proper coaching because these are costly affairs. Many students have studied through the internet and There should be curiosity, I mean to say. There should be a seek
Definitely, there should
that
be.
you have to do it. Then you can learn from the nature, you can devise the mechanism, you can learn from the nature, and you can search out the options to come out. Well, as such, it's neuroscientist mean ultimately it's a scientist job, right? Maybe your input is some protein, DNA, RNA, or your input is from the nervous system, I mean to say. But ultimately you're the science, and you're having your microscopic view to find out the inner core of inside of the cell or DNA or RNA. Scientist job, yes, it's full of curiosity, it's full of dedication, self dedication and perseverance. Okay, you must have a lot of patience. Many times the result doesn't come so easily. It may take years and years. People may laugh at you, people may mock over you, and still the dedication continue. And I still remember the electricity bulb when it was invented. There were thousands of false experiments. So there should be perseverance, there should be no rest. I still remember one of the quote of Sushant Singh Rajput that says, massive failure is far better than the mediocre success. So yeah, when you have to do some extraordinary, you have to do the extra failures. You should love that, okay, rather than mediocre success. Don't be in a comfort zone, okay? You should come out of that, do some extraordinary. Remember, out of the 75 years of your age in life, in general, like if I take 75, you sleep like 1/3, like 25 years you just spent in the sleep. Remaining 2-3 hours are needed for food, bath, going here and there or so. It means you hardly spend few years that make your career, that make your identity in the system. I still remember this neuropsychology, there's a Pareto's law, that is 80 versus 20 law, that says 80% of your success or 80% of identity comes from only 20% of your efforts.
Yes.
Okay, it is, yeah. So we do not know that 20% efforts that make your 80% identity in the system, it could be part of this age or that age. So each and every day you should love doing something new. Don't make your every tomorrow like your yesterday. It should have some compounding, okay? It should be better and better. Keep learning new things, have a curiosity, and do something for the return back to the society. That passion should be there, okay? Yeah. Now this neuroscience is needed in the conflict resolution also. I tell you, like right now the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is going on, and a lot of terrorism, lot of discomfort, lot of
lot of havoc and
terrorism, that is just because of conflict. That is the faulty mind perception to some point or another point. I do not say name, but you can understand that way. Now there's need of neuropsychology for this conflict resolution. There's need of neuroscience in the space science, like when human will be going out of this earth kernel, how you need your perfection of the mind so that you can tolerate that pressure being alone in this space or so. So neuroscience is everywhere, right? Since childhood, we come across several myths or misinformation of the neuroscience or brain or cognitive science. So during the COVID also there was 3 terms very much famous: information, misinformation, and disinformation. So misinformation is the information that you do not know, you are not aware, still you are passing on. That is the wrong information. But disinformation is intentionally wrong information that you cheat the public. Like in neurobiology, if I say, there's a conception that people use only 10% of the brain, but it is not that true, okay? Like it is not that big, that only 10% of part is active all the time and 90% is inactive. I can take the analogy as if when you are driving a car, how much percentage of car you are using? Can someone give me the example that only 10% car is being used at speed 20, or how much percentage car is being used at 100 speed? Because car works in totality. It needed 4 wheels, steering, and many others. This way the brain is also. Similarly, people used to say that we hardly use like 1 or 2%, and that brain remain as such. Similarly, spinal cord is only necessary for the reflex action but not for the brain. But this is again a misconception. Spinal cord is related to not only spinal reflex but also by channelizing the brain commands through the peripheral nervous system to whole body. Spinal nerves are for that purpose. Similarly, people used to say that human brain study cannot be done other than human being, like from small animals, it is not possible. But that is again wrong. Many clues of neurosciences come from the mouse, mus musculus, rat, rabbit, and guinea pig, and then monkeys. So we get a lot of clues from these small animals also. That is again wrong thing. So and similarly, like many conceptions remain in the neurosciences because neurosciences is least studied science so far. Human brain, especially human mind, to read human mind, it's very impossible. Like there's no instrumentation available right now which can take a photograph of the mind. You can take photograph of a brain, you can take photograph of frontal lobe, you can take photograph of tissue damage or ischemia or a stroke in the brain. But how the bad memories, how your bad behavior, how a criminality of a person lies in which part of the brain cannot be photographed. Okay, that is the futurology, how we can do the brain mapping or so. Okay, so there are a lot of misconceptions, but day by day these conceptions are being clarified by the scientific fraternity by some way or another way. Oh, well, money is secondary. Like I would say, your ideas are the real currency in today's world. Your ideas, your capability, your strength, your lateral thinking, your extraordinary, solutions to the day-to-day problems in the society. That is the real currency. You should chase these, points. Money will follow you, but in my opinion, money becomes secondary. Your career and your aspirations and your desire to create change in the society is first. However, as far as my view is concerned, in US, neurologist or neurosurgeon are one of the top 3 highest lucrative job. Neurosurgeon are the highly lucrative in India as well, as because there are a lot of traumatic cases, lot of accidents day by day. A lot of hospitals are having skull problems and road accidents and car accidents. So neurosurgeon are good, and after the surgical part is done by the neurosurgeon, then a lot of mental disorders comes up, like a person becomes ataxia, a person gets a memory problem or anterograde amnesia or retrograde amnesia. Then psychologist comes up, okay, psychologist or a psychiatrist that give treatment to ameliorate the anomaly or physical problems or behavioral changes of the mind in the subject. So you might have seen several rehabilitation centers are there. How I can forget to mention Tare Zameen Par, one movie where the subject was having this one of the mental disorder where the subject was not able to read and write. Okay, so there are a lot of brain disorders coming up nowadays, and for that neuropsychologists, neuropsychiatrists are needed, and neurobehavioral also. Similarly, these brain information related professions are there in the HR management also, to find out whether a candidate will be good or bad in the organization. So they read the psychology, they read their emotional part. Like, see, in today's world, not necessarily a person is more intelligent or more successful. A person should have rather more EQ or emotional quotient, how you can handle the world with your difficult situation as well. So IQ is not a criteria, alone criteria, it is your emotional quotient. How empathy you show with the world, how empathy you show with your fellow colleagues, so that they can have a healthy environment. Okay, so this neuroscience is everywhere. Maybe it is not having direct word of neuroscience or brain science or brain biology, but its repercussions and its influences are everywhere. Okay.
Okay. So if we have to talk just about India, how much would one expect as a basic salary in neuroscience to the topmost level? So would you be able to give us a range?
It's very tough to say and tough to categorize because just neuroscience is not alone, as I've explained several times. Just it's an umbrella term, it's a complex
Yes.
word. Neuroscience is not just one alone, okay? It is everywhere in the medical sciences, the non-medical sciences, it's in HR, it's everywhere. So it depends how smart you are. I would say it is the smartness of the brain and mind, not smartness of your face is needed in today's world, remember. That is the secondary. Because ultimately, skin has to wrinkle down after the aging happens, okay? But mind mature up and becomes more smarter in the aging. But face and physical beauty fade down, okay? So it is the mind, your creative ideas, your extraordinary, feelings and desire to work. So you can earn even 50,000 or you can earn even lakhs of rupees. So it is not easy to bound with some numbers in India for me. Pandemic has impacted neurosciences very much, I will tell you. When the first phase or the first, initially this COVID started, there were a lot of, uh, uh, there were a lot of restrictions over the human movement from here to there because it was respiratory disorder, and a person can contaminate here and there. So remember, stress and then anxiety and depression, these three disorders, these are in a increasing order of discomfort. Like stress is with everyone. Now stress is like two types: de-stress and eustress. Like I tell you, before this interview, I was studying and memorizing and making my statement, and I was just having eustress because I have to perform well for my interview with Mentoria. Distress is the part when person succumbs to the pressure, and in during COVID period, even now, stress, anxiety is related to your negative thoughts are prevailing. Negative thought like suicidal tendency, and lot many people committed suicide during the stress and anxiety in the COVID also. Nowadays, even every day it happens. Like in Kota, when students are having a lot of problem in the competitive exams preparation, I think every month 6 students on an average commit suicide. So how we can stop this suicidal tendency of the mind is also part of this neuropsychiatry and neuropsychology. And nowadays space science is exploding after this SpaceX of SpaceX, ISRO, NASA. Every month they are having a lot of satellite launch going to moon or Mars even now. Okay, Elon Musk has already declared that he wants human colonization as the Mars also, remember, out of the Earth also. In India there will be Gaganyaan, and now humans will be going to space just for fun or fun odyssey. Okay, so that time you need a lot of mental composer, your mental how you can deal with your mental stress when you will be alone in this space. So everywhere this is needed, this mental stress, how you can handle the this stress and anxiety. So where neurology, neuropsychiatry and neuropsychiatrists are coming into picture. So COVID has increased this mental stress, and COVID has made learn a lesson that human brain is very much important to having buffering capacity. Now imagine a situation in COVID pandemic, a lot of people died, and like when someone dies, you can imagine the situation of the near and dears, the family. So mental trauma gives that much stress and anxiety in the individuals. People go for depression also, and then going to mental hospital also. So to
Is
For
actually
that purpose, meditation was, meditation and yoga was even given priority. Even, neuroprotective phytomedicines such as almonds, walnut, it's very important for the healthy brain and mind also. These were, started uh, advocating by the Ayurveda people also, so that we can handle our stress happily. See, nowadays, like before like 10 years or so, many people among us were knowing the mobile number, hundreds of mobile number we were, having on our fingertips, like mother, father, family. But nowadays, no one used to cram this number because we are dependent on a mobile phone or electronic gadgets or digital gadgets. Now, smart watches are there, okay? They tell you a lot of information. So this is all based on artificial intelligence. Nowadays, Siri, Alexa, Google, they work. So there's no need of, your fingertips to type, rather you just speak. Now, ChatGPT has come up in last few months, okay? And this mid of March, there will be GPT-4 also, that is higher version of ChatGPT. So now, this artificial intelligence, the creator of these artificial intelligence-based gadgets and innovations and technologies are smarter, no doubt. They are doing the good thing. They are developing this. But in my opinion, they are making idle and they are detrimentally, negatively affecting the cognitive part of brain and mind of those remaining 8 billion people. Now, this is also called Google effect, when we are just not letting, memorizing small things. We don't remember our even friend's mobile number. We don't even remember the, anniversary dates. Everything we are dependent on a Google. Now, suppose Google is paid all of a sudden so much, and or having some problem, or because it's destructive technology is affecting day by day, and they take over the previous technology to down and new technology come up. Like now Google is having very conscious recall that ChatGPT can go ahead. Okay, so this way, similarly, like robotics has affected the muscles. Now imagine one robot can now serve the tea and coffee and your food in the restaurant. It means already the muscular system is declining with the help of these robotics. Similarly, these artificial intelligence based gadgets and electronic or digital, this paraphernalia affecting our brain, because we are not able to think, we are not using our brain to memorize facts. Rather, we are just dependent every time speaking on the Google and trying to find out. Initially, it used to be in a book format. People used to write the books, making notes, making notebook, and trying to memorize. So the memory is like three types: sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. So this way, electronic gadgets based on AI is affecting our short-term memory and long-term memory very much. So human brain is now declining. Human emotions are declining also, and probably this is not positively, making our developmental of the brain. So developmental of brain is now reduced down with the AI technology. Say nowadays, as I told you, this science of neuroscience, neurobiology, and brain science, I can say it's umbrella term. Again, it's intermingled in some way or another way. Is needed for conflict resolution. Like one can go to United Nations or WHO, or like you could be in a intergovernmental organizations to negotiate, because ultimately dialogue should be there, okay, in any conflict. And interpreter, there could be use of linguistics, like how one can study the languages. And this also science leads to the computational neuroscience, data science also, how we can take the data of a country and then make a meaningful, streamlined, deductions of that. Like if you having a data of a city, and then you control all the data, like what they were searching for in last 1 month, then you can tell the, your projections, what were their choice just like Amazon controls this, like which product you want, the same way it develops that AI keep telling you the similar products again and again, and it is forced, you know, forced purchasing by the subject. Similarly, neuroscience is necessary for stress and anxiety and depression nowadays, because a lot of counselors are there, and the counselors, you know, used to listen the situation and they give recommendation how they can get rid of the mental stress. There's need of, you know, medical and neurologist or neurosurgeon, because trauma cases are now coming up so much, car accident or road accident. Space science related also, like when the crew goes up in the sky and people, you know, give them training how they have to cope months and months in the space without human population around them, okay, how they have to cope and how they have to pass on 24 hours, okay. So it is everywhere. And Google, ChatGPT, they might have very smart guys, okay, they can develop these algorithms and making new and newer software and new technology in this disruptive technology age. But again, they are making idle and negatively affecting the mind of those 7.5 to 8 billion people. So this way, 0.0001% smart people affecting 99.99% people's brain negatively. But we can't do anything on an individual basis. Humans need some extraordinary, and change is the only constant in life, okay. So change has to be there. We cannot pause our life at this today's situation. Now 23 is going on, next year 24. So in neurobiology also, futuristically, if I say, now people are trying to decode human memory, how human memory can be read out in a dying person, okay, and that can be transplanted to another human being. So this way, perpetuation of life is possible, okay. So many things are coming up futuristically also in neurosciences.
That sounds very promising. So thank you so much, Dr. Arun, for sharing all your meticulous, beautiful insights. So I'm sure the audience has a couple of questions and they would love to interact with you. So I'll be having the floor open for questions, and I welcome the audience to shoot your questions to Dr. Arun.
Hello, Dr. Arun. Good afternoon. I was planning to go into cognitive and behavioral science MSc, so like psychologically inclined domain of neuroscience. So that is something I was trying to get into, and I wanted to ask you, if you have if there's something is like that, the premier institutes for this, like there is IIMs for management, and for engineering there are IITs. So what are the premier institutes for cognitive and behavioral sciences? And the ones you mentioned, maybe I missed it. Yes, Allahabad is taken to be very premier, the institute for this, but maybe I missed it, but I didn't think that you...
Okay, I got your question. So for you, I think NIMHANS is one of the options.
Okay.
National Institute of Mental Health and Sciences, it's in Bangalore. One is NBRC, National Brain Research Center, that is in NCR, Delhi. And IITs are having all this. IC Bangalore is having its own Center of Neurosciences, and ICER also, IISER, and MIT University is also having this all, you know. In my university, it's graduation only right now. And Hyderabad Central University also. So Madras University is also having. So there are several options, okay, for behavioral neuroscience. NIMHANS is one of the good. In Asia also it is having some reputation.
Yeah, yes. But some site that mentioned the rankings, it ranked CBCS Allahabad over NIMHANS, better than
please, I have disagree with you over this. These rankings are not, you know, ultimate. These are very much biased. So don't go for that, okay? You should have some ideas from the website, but don't take it as a concrete or ultimately. Allahabad University Department, yes, as you told me, it is there. But NIMHANS, the name itself is Mental Health and Sciences. And NIMHANS, the website, if you see, there are more than 500, medicos only from the neurosciences, having psychology, anatomy, physiology. So every part is having like neuro suffix, like neuroanatomy, neurophysiology, neuropsychology, neuropsychiatry, everywhere.
Okay.
So that is a complete system. And also the good thing, in NIMHANS, there is a medical hospital also. So the number of subjects, number of clinical subjects is extremely higher. However, in case of university, you have only mostly theoretical, because the hospital cannot have a human subject for this study. So you go ahead. There could be, a restraint of not going to Bangalore, or because it's so much far away to someone in northern India. But for education, a person should not be hesitant for the physical movement.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. And sir, one more question was that there are programs like MSc and PhD integrated. So would you also recommend?
Yes. So ICER and IC Bangalore, they have an integrated masters and PhD already, and even in MT also. So now, even in the national education policy, now people are going for MSc research of 1 year and then directly going to PhD. So one can do the similar topic expansion in the PhD also. So this way, number of years is reduced down. So previously, like 3-year BSc, 2-year masters, and then PhD was having like suppose 10 years. Now it is little window and more practical knowledge based. But I would suggest you that you should have some courses or basic fundamental courses from either Coursera or edX or Udemy or Swim or several other platforms. So at least you should qualify some courses over MOOCs, over your mobile phone and laptop itself, without enrolling in university. And that will give not only curiosity to you in the same subject, but also it will be part of your biodata. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anirudh.
Hi, Joanna.
Hi,
Deepti this side. Hello, sir.
Hi. Hi, Deepti.
Good afternoon. So, sir, I had a very basic question. So let's say somebody who's had a PCB in class 12, right?
Yeah.
So what subjects should she or he take up in graduation? And you mentioned so many universities, that's, thanks for that. But what subjects should one take up if one wants to get into neuroscience? And how different it is from psychology? If somebody has taken up psychology, how different it is from psychology? Because what I gathered, it's more about, it's more or less like on the lines of psychology, neuroscience.
See, psychology. Thank you, Deepti. Look, psychology is there since several decades. Psychology is the resultant part of the mind. Like, psychology is needed to read the behavior of the people, or taking out some clues. Okay, psychology is also there since so much ago. So psychology used to be the part of the arts department. So in psychology, they take the questionnaire and they read the study that is called affirmative neuroscience. So they conduct some tests, they give some hundreds of people data by questionnaire, and then making sense of that psychology and making some theories and laws that if a person behave like this, then this is the characteristic of the person. However, in case of neurobiology or neurosciences, biology is more needed, because probably you are working with the brain tissue, or a part of the brain, or somebody is having like DNA, RNA, or neuron growth, or neuron culture, short-term culture, glial cells, or taking a tumor sample, or taking a biopsy of the brain or CSF. That time you need hardcore biology. Like, one should have a hardcore biology. So neuropsychology and neuropsychiatry could be without much intelligence of biology, but neurobiology need very much good command over cell biology, molecular biology, biochemistry also. That same knowledge can be used for studying the brain, okay, in that way. And in India, several universities are not having their department name as a neurobiology, rather they say cognitive science or behavioral neuroscience, okay, or there could be learning and memory, department of learning and memory. Now, these names doesn't mean that they have a very extraordinary, specialized areas. Everything is multidimensional. Okay, it is having, concerns from many places. So it's like a multidisciplinary sciences nowadays. So ultimately, it is the study of the brain. In case of like brain, that is the tangible mass, 1.4 kg okay in the brain, and its mind, that is the software, and how this mind control our body, behavior, emotions, and this all part. So it doesn't matter the name, rather, as I said deeply to you, it is the interest. I mean, what you want to work with. So there could be change in the name, but the degrees and the subjects are more or less similar. So for that purpose, like MOOCs are necessary. MOOCs can give you better glimpse of the courses and their structure and the unit wise, differentiation of the ideas and topics. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. One more question.
Yeah.
Because we deal with students on a regular basis as counselors. So the first and foremost question for them is, how much can we earn to begin with, after doing this? So if you could just run us through that.
I'm sorry once again. See, in today's world, there's a lot of shortcut, competition, and there's lot of MNCs and private jobs. So it is your smartness, how attentive and how smart you are. That depends on the salary. This number of amount cannot bound with that. Okay, so this is the way a person can become quickly. Like Sundar Pichai has become, within 50 years of age, a CEO of Google, and many people would not be the CEO even by age 70. And amazing, out of 10,000 people, how somebody becomes CEO. So you should be smart enough, okay, with the mind, your output, how much you are efficient, how much you are problem solver. That can give wonder to you, okay? And remember, there's a difference between job and career. I would rather say here as a career in the neuroscience, not jobs in the neuroscience. When you say jobs is a defined window period, like 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and you are doing what you are supposed to do, and you are being instructed to do only this much. That is the job. While I say, and that career in neuroscience, career means you are on your own, and you will stand up with the first person of a lane or queue, and thousands of people will follow you in your future or so. So in career, you develop something very extraordinary. You develop your own organization. You develop your thoughts and vision to as an institution itself. So
okay. So once they pass, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's okay.
No, so I was just saying, let's say once they've passed out, they've done their graduation. So where can they look up for jobs? Where can they apply? And one more question, so last question. How can they build their profile? How they stand apart from others? What else can they do?
Yeah, so the same way I'm emphasizing, say after graduation, don't expect a job. If you say for a job, then you are going in the comfort zone. You don't want to do some extraordinary things. Jobs, not necessarily by BSc, you will be just a lab attendant or data interpreter, or you can be maybe just mediocre. As I just now told, mediocre success say acha hai, that massive failure are necessary. So one should go for as much as higher studies. One should keep updating with the new courses, doing over MOOCs and edX or so. That makes entries in your biodata. Like your pocket money is not making any clue or addition in your biodata, but these are the courses. But one should try to develop career. In today's world also, as the government policy is there, entrepreneurship is now coming up. You should become an entrepreneur. You should try to become something which can give job to another 10 people. So a lot of dimensions are there. As a neuro psychiatrist or neuro analyst or neuro linguistic programming, or even in the students making project based learning based on the neuro based projects where the active brain is necessary. Such kind of new things should be done. Okay, So just I would say that one should go for as much as higher study and updating with the newer technology, and try to become a smart person with better ideas and
All right. Thank you so much.
welcome.
To ask that, I myself am a proponent of keeping monetary aspect as secondary, but I wanted to ask for just so that there are no obstacles in the way. So do institutes also pay stipend within MSc for cognitive and behavioral science? I mean,
it depends the university to university. I say I do not know exactly, because such regulations keep updating with time to time. Okay. Like scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and some minorities are giving a lot of scholarships already. It is by the government of India. These marginalized people are given scholarship. However, if you are so smart enough, you can achieve any scholarship for your PhD, like CSI, UGC, NET, or ICMR, GRF, or GATE, or several other exams, UGC. There's no foundation. Like, if you are too curious to excel in your studies, I think nobody can stop. You can feel hurdled temporarily, but ultimately some solution will come up. Or even private philanthropists are there that here you can approach with. But I have not come across that they give their own stipend. However, in new education policy right now, the students will be requested for taking some classes or experimental work in their university, and in return they will be given some amount by the universities. But let this national education policy be completely implemented. Okay.
and so, yes. But just for a vision, I was asking that is research by itself enough for making a living? I mean, to a basic level at least. Or you something do along with it, right? That's all.
So, like, you can be content creator, you could be you can be writer, author, you can teach students also. Now several platforms are there in work from home situation where you can participate other than your study. You can still create money also, and you can keep studying also. Nowadays it is possible that 2 degree courses can be done simultaneously. So now a lot of student favorable conditions are coming up in the higher education right now. So there's one can earn money by tuition also, online tuition also. There's several other ways. You should be smart enough, right, to come up solutions how to copy your discount.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Arun, for taking the time out to be a part of this webinar and share all your insights and knowledge, and hoping to be in touch soon. And for the audience, I hope you've gained a lot of clarity by now.